in the summer. Only time will tell. Beetle intercourse. Did not enjoy the first few chapters of this. What did I just read? I have no idea what's going on. The way it's written is just inherently good. Astounding. What the heck? Taste them. They're incredible. Gugan. What is this book about? Excellent question. Hey everyone, it's Fiona and welcome back to my channel, Crystal Eva Chanel. Summer is almost over and I have not yet finished my summer TBR. So guess what's happening in today's video? I'm actually not as far off as I thought I was going to be. Apart from two books which I'm reading for a specific vlog, hopefully next week, I've only actually got a few books left. So I am halfway through, just over half maybe, The Miseducation of Everet by Matson Taylor. This was in my summer TBR. And then also in my summer TBR was Northwards by Daniel Mason. I haven't started this yet, but that's it for the summer TBR. And then I also pulled a prompt for August specifically, and typically with those ones I don't choose the book straight away. I choose it literally as I'm starting to read it so that I can mood read it a little bit more. But the prompt was an author I've read before, and like I say, I don't have to go with this one, like I can choose it in the moment, but I have my heart pretty set on How to Disappear by Gillian McAllister, so it's probably going to be this one, but we will see where the week goes. For now I'm going to focus on finishing this one. It's currently Monday, it's actually Monday evening, so I doubt I'll get much more reading done today, but I just wanted to start this off so that I can get going straight away tomorrow. And like I said, see where the week takes me. Hopefully I will finish all these 3 books this week, which is a pretty big ask of myself, but I think I can do it. Let's see. I somehow didn't give a single update yesterday, which was Tuesday, but I did in fact finish Everet, and I liked this one. I think it was fun and a bit quirky, and one of the tagline here, is this called a tagline or is it like a review, I guess, says nostalgic, and I can see that, and I don't think it means nostalgic in the way that, like, we're following a 16-year-old teenage girl in this book in 1962. So for me, I'm not nostalgic of that time because I wasn't around, and I would imagine that's the same for most readers of this book, but it was kind of nostalgic in the sense of being a teenager on the precipice of adulthood, trying to figure out who you are and your place in the world, and Evie really was trying to do that. I will say she was quite a young 16, possibly she was I think like at the time she was quite modern, but obviously that's old-fashioned for us in 2025. But yeah, I also think, so yeah, nostalgic in that sense of being a teenager, but also it felt almost nostalgic in the way of the story, because we've got a teenage girl who's stepping into adulthood, she's kind of isolated because she lives in this big house with her widowed father and her father's new romantic interest. So it almost had like fairy tale-ish vibes, and then there's like a mysterious and daring character who comes in and like rescues her from that. So yeah, it was almost fairy tale-ish in that way, which I think is another way of it coming across nostalgic. And I did feel like I was having a lovely time when I was younger reading a story. Like, it just felt like what stories used to be when you were a kid. But I don't think this is YA. I think this is intended for adults, but in reminiscence of adolescence. But yeah, I do understand that this wouldn't be for everyone, and I can see why it's not super popular, because Evie, like I said, she was quite a young 16. It was very bracket heavy. Like at the end of a lot of sentence, Evie would put in brackets, little extra snippet of information, which I feel was quite quirky. I think I said already, but that feels fitting to me. And quite representative of natural flowing conscious thought, because I think a lot of people, like, that is how we think and how we talk in regular everyday conversation, but you don't usually see that in books, and I think some people might have found that a bit annoying. Some people would have loved it. I feel like I'm kind of indifferent towards it. I'm not sure. I kind of sat in the middle on that one. But I liked the story. I did. It was very wholesome and very hopeful. But there was one scene towards the end that was quite dark compared to the rest of the story that I didn't really like. But I understand why it was there, but it was like, why? I don't know. For me, that was something that I didn't enjoy. But other than that, yeah, it was a really hopeful and wholesome story about just figuring out who you are and having a lovely time while you do it. So that was that one. And then I moved on to Northwoods, which is over there. So I have read 37 pages of Northwoods so far, and it is weird. I cannot tell you what's going on. Sorry if you can hear my laptop absolutely fighting for its life trying to process a video right now. If you ever see the video of me watching First Time Caller, I'll honestly be a little bit amazed because it is not going well. But that's by the by. This book, what is this book about? Excellent question. There was a woman who was kidnapped by a man, but I think they've died now. And then the bit I'm reading at the moment is about a man who has become the Apple Man. That's all I can give you. He's been away for 2 years and has come back, and his children don't quite recognise him, and his sister's there but his wife's died, and they all think he's gone mad because he loves apples. And he's like, no, but you don't understand. Taste them. They're incredible. Apples. And that's where I'm at. It's kind of mixed media-y. I've only seen 2 reviews of this. One very, very, very positive, and one quite the opposite. So I really don't know where I'm gonna stand. I'm enjoying it. I wouldn't say I'm hooked, but I'm definitely intrigued so far, because it's kind of fever dreamish. I just have no idea what's happening. I tried to film my halfway update twice yesterday, and both times it just didn't film. So I'm now a little over halfway, and main thing to say about this book is that it's just so bizarre. And that's it. I don't feel I can tell you the premise of this book because I don't know it, and I'm the one reading it, so I'm confused. But I kind of feel that was the author's intention. Like, he's written this whole story in a very convoluted way, and I think it's supposed to be a bit confusing. You're supposed to be a bit like here, there and everywhere. I learned a new Welsh word the other day called, which was, if I remember correctly, chwarligugan. It's a tricky one. Chwarligugan. And it basically means, like, it doesn't have a direct English translation, but it means like chaos and a whirlwind, almost like a whirlpool. but in a positive way. Just like, I have no idea what's going on, this is so chaotic, but I'm having fun. And that's kind of what this is. I would say that kind of loosely relates to this, because what the heck is going on? I don't know. So the book is split. It is in numbered chapters, and I feel like kind of the main storyline is in the numbered chapters, and then in between that we get interludes of different writing styles and different media. So we've got some ballads in there, which two of the characters from the main chapters have supposedly written. We've got some proverbs, we've got almost like a diary entry, and these things are all kind of coming together to give more information about the characters and the storylines and the timelines of the Northwoods. Yeah, oh, we also had a big section full of letters from one man to his lover. But honestly, what's this book about? I don't know. I don't think it's going to be more than a 3-point-something star rating. But I'm still like, I've still got a good way to go. So maybe it'll all come together and click for me. I don't really think so. But I'm having a pretty good time. So I finished this a little while ago now, a few hours ago. And the first thing that I want to comment on is the language. This man's understanding and knowledge of the English language and command of the language is astounding. Like, the way he can manipulate words and language to mean exactly what he wants to mean and say exactly what he wants to say is so impressive. He just has such a good command of the language, and I think that's really worth commenting on because it's incredible. Like, the writing is so clever. This book is so cleverly put together. Clearly a lot of thought's gone into it. It's really well crafted, and the writing is just, I don't know, because I feel like normally when people say the writing is so good, it's like they really gelled with the writing, but I think it's just that the way it's written is just inherently good. He just has such a fantastic understanding of language and how to put it together. In terms of plot, I liked it. I didn't love it, but I did like it, and I think again it's really clever. It came full circle at the end, and everything not necessarily fell into place because I didn't feel like I was waiting for kind of a penny drop, but everything made sense by the end of it. It is quite convoluted the way that everything's come together, but by the end it all makes sense. But some of the things, like, this book is weird. This book is bizarre. There was one whole section, well, like 3-4 pages, all about beetle intercourse. But in the context of the book, it did make a lot of sense. It really did. And you were like in the mind of the beetle finding a mate, basically. And it made sense in the context, but I did get to the end of that section and I was like, what did I just read? There's a lot of strange stuff in here. It's mixed media, and there's different images, and there's different, so like, see how this one is just block text, but then here is where one of the ballads come in that the sisters wrote, and they all say to the tune of, but I didn't know any of the tunes, so I couldn't really sing them along. And then diagrams. of the different plants that they're discussing. It's a very well crafted book. This one's like an excerpt from a magazine, so then it's got the different subheadings within to make this like article or story. It's really well put together. I definitely don't think it would be for everyone. I'm not sure if it was for me. I'm definitely not someone who's sitting here saying all these things like extraordinary, exhilarating, captivating, epic, outstanding, beguiling and spellbinding. But I do think it's really impressive. It's an impressive work of literature. I think it's really just smart and clever. And I did like it. I'm not sure of a rating yet. I'm thinking it's probably going to be about a 3.75, which is a good rating. But as I said, it's not something that I really loved. I'm glad I read this because it's really interesting to see something so unique and to read something so different to what I typically read, but also I feel like what's typically out there to read. I may be totally wrong by that, but it's definitely not something, it's not similar to anything I've come across before. And with that, technically, the objective of this video is complete, so I could end this here. However, I decided to also pick up my August specific prompt book in this video as well. So all of the books that I made in my summer TBR are now complete except for the 2 that I mentioned that I'll be reading in a specific vlog, which I'm hoping to start very soon. But for the time being, I did also have one last book that I wanted to read in August. So my prompt was a book by an author I read before, and with my monthly specific prompts, I don't have to choose the book in advance at the start of the month. I just have to read at least one book that month that fits the prompt. And I know I mentioned that I had kind of set my heart on How to Disappear by Gillian McAllister. However, I have started instead The Love Wager by Lynn Painter, and I've got to say I did not enjoy the first few chapters of this. The writing just wasn't working for me. It felt very, I don't know, like it was trying to be funny, and it felt almost like a YA. It felt almost YA, but the characters are adults, but the writing style kind of felt quite YA to me. I've read 6 chapters, I've read 67 pages, and I am enjoying it a little bit more now, but I'm not sure about this one. I'm going to keep reading for the time being. I do think it could end up being a DNF, and I think at the moment, if I were to finish it and give it a rating, it's kind of sitting in a 2 to 3 star range. But I'm going to keep trying for a little bit longer and see what I think. I've read 2 books by this author before. I read The Do-Over, which I really, really loved. I gave that 4 stars. I thought that was so fun and cute and silly and fluffy and just really nice. But then, and that was probably about a year ago, but then at Christmas time I read Betting on You, which I really did not like. I think I gave that 2 stars. It just wasn't for me. So this one, I knew going into it that it could go either way, and at the moment it seems to be going more towards Betting on You, but only time will tell. I'm so fed up of reading books where the love interest has green eyes. Hey Stephen. Ew. Okay, that was funny, I have to admit. Yeah, I'm DNFing. A new trope's just come in that maybe I'm a bore, but I am just not on board with. And considering I wasn't really enjoying the book anyway, that's just made me go, yeah, that's enough. So I am DNFing The Love Wager at 171 pages, which is a little over halfway. It's quite a short book. Yeah, this one's just not for me, and that's okay. And there we have the end of my summer TBR. I had so much fun making this seasonal TBR and then this little video to make sure I finished all the books off. I will definitely be doing it again. In fact, I have already picked out my autumn TBR and started making good progress on it. So much so that I don't know if I'll end up doing another one of these finishing my TBR videos for autumn at the end of November, because maybe I'll make my way through it anyway. I only picked 6 books this time. I am currently 1 week into September, but I did film this video in the last week of August, but this video isn't coming out until late September. But rest assured, I did finish the summer TBR in the summer. I ended up settling on a 3.75 star rating for both The Miseducation of Everet and Northwoods, and what was the other book? The Love Wager I DNF'd. So mixed bag. Low to average, I'd say, for this week, but that's absolutely fine. I'm really glad I read these books and gave them a go. Yeah, thank you so much for being here and supporting this little channel. It does mean a lot, and hopefully I will see you again very soon. Bye!